there was always a problem with enlargement. There was always a doubt, especially with the enlargement towards the Western Balkans. After the big enlargement in 2004, everybody focused then on the enlargement on the Western Balkans. And after a few years, we came into a state where the word or the phrase enlargement fatigue was being used.
I don't see the enlargement as something that will not happen, but what I see is that before enlargement we have to define what is going to be the European Union, and we have to start delivering to society something that they can appreciate.
I wouldn't say that Rome showed the way. Rome was about consolidating European Union as such, but it never says, or it doesn't say that enlargement is not on the table.
The context in which enlargement nowadays takes place has been changed. If we compare it to the 2007 enlargement with Bulgaria and Romania or with Croatia, the tools and mechanisms pertaining to the ongoing enlargement process have never been more complex or sophisticated. In fact, their complexity is progressively evolving.
If you look from this perspective, the enlargement is very much alive as it was alive 5 or 6 or 7 or even more years back. It's changed, the dynamics has changed, but the enlargement process as such is still valid.
So it's a very difficult moment for the European Union, and it's particularly difficult because for the first time I think in history, since the creation of the European Union, we are not sure that the European Union will last. There is this sense that there is this chance that the European Union might well collapse.
Basically, this is our doorstep, and if we are so afraid about other third global strategic actors who have different ideas about the region, about them not meddling so much as they do now, the only alternative is to bring the countries of the Western Balkans closer to the European Union.
France and Germany have been fighting for so many years, and now they are like best friends in the European Union. This was like a topic thinking about this like years ago. So, the good thing about the European Union is that you can kind of transform into reality those utopian ideas.
The European Union is not a geopolitical project, so it's something more. It's something which is about influence, but again, not an instrumental influence. It's a deeper one, a normative one. That's why the question of integration and enlargement are very much bound together. It's been 15 years that the EU somehow has been promoting a bilateral view of its relation with these countries, that it has been neglecting the fact that this region have complementarities and can be seen as, at least geographically, as a space. So this is something which has been missing. This is where the EU now is maybe, I hope, catching up by putting the emphasis on regional cooperation.
What Berlin process tried to trigger is an interest, Western Balkans politicians, and to remind them that the only way into the European Union is not just to adopt legislation, but to do the reforms, practical reforms in terms of infrastructure, in terms of economy, in order to come closer to the European Union.
If the countries of the Western Balkans want to accede to the European Union, they have to comply with certain rules. Although the rules are constantly changing, that's like the whole EU is a moving target, but still there is a commitment on the side of the countries that they want to join the European Union.
What we need is transformation in all parts of societies in order for economy to be sustainable.
the fact that enlargement used to be very much driven by Commission and by technical actors following such technical bureaucratic logic, this fact has diminished and it's becoming more political. It means more open to such consideration, electoral considerations and so on. 51% of the population in the EU is not in favor of enlargement. It's 63 in the Netherlands, it's 72 in Austria.
Accession was always a political decision and will remain political decision taken by countries. That's the bottom line. Whatever the assessment of the Commission is, or how good a country has performed in doing reforms, it will be always a political decision taken by the member state.
So we see that this enlargement has become less previsible, less predictable, and it's very much open to many questions from the member states, the interests of the member states and the constituencies of the key political players.
If you look at the Rome Declaration, we only partly touched the issue that in 10 years' time the Union should be safe and secure. So the Western Balkans' role in there, prosperous, competitive, sustainable, socially responsible, and with the capacity to play a role in the world and shape globalization. We touched upon many of those issues. We basically concluded that the work on enlargement Western Balkans between Rome and Trieste somehow seems to deliver in parts, but many things remain very much unfinished business.